So you want your ex back, but you'd like to do it without talking to them. Well, you're in luck, because that is exactly what I teach here on this channel. And whether you can't talk to them or you just don't want to, don't worry, because I'm going to explain how you're actually in a very good situation if you do want your ex back. I'm Brad Browning, and I am here to get you a second chance. I've done it for thousands of people all over the world. I've even created an entire program about it called the X Factor. And that is why they call me Breakup Brad, because really this is what I do. Now, let's talk about getting your ex back without talking to them. Now, to many people watching, this might sound like a crazy idea. How can you win back your ex without even having a conversation with them? Well, I'm here to tell you that not only is it possible, it's actually the best way to win your ex back in almost every situation. But before I explain why, I will just obviously say yes, you will have to talk to your ex at some point during this process eventually. I'm not going to tell you that you can win your ex back with a staring contest and then spend the rest of your life together, silently in love, not talking to one another. But I am saying that if you can delay talking to your ex for quite a while, you are going to have a better chance with them. I'm also saying that when you do start talking to your ex again, minimizing how much conversation you have and limiting the topics of conversation is also going to help you win them back. And I'm also saying that, you have options to actively attract your ex to you that don't involve contacting them in any way. This is not, the law of attraction or manifestation or anything like that. I'm talking about real methods that have been proven to work. So now let's talk about how silence is actually attractive to your ex. Because the only way to get your ex back is by making them miss you. I'll say that again. The only way to get your ex back is by making them miss you. If they don't miss you after the breakup, then they're going to have no incentive to be with you. It's really that simple. And your ex can't miss you if you're still hanging around, if you're still talking to them all the time and spending time together. Because really, you can't miss something that you still have. I mean, think about it. I'm guessing most of you are probably watching this video on your phone. So do you miss your phone right now? Well, no, of course not, because it's in your hand. But what about when it dies, or you leave it at home, or maybe it breaks and you can't get a new one for a week? I bet you'll miss it then, right? Now, obviously you're not a phone, but the principle is essentially the same. You must make your ex miss you if you want them back, and the only way to do this is to give them space. So think about that before you send them a text at 2 a.m. or show up to their house. Your absence will have a more powerful effect on your ex than your presence really ever could. And there's actually another reason this works, and it has to do with your ex's expectations. They expect you to come crawling back to them, begging them for a second chance, and basically falling apart now that they're gone. Because this is the natural instinct of somebody who isn't dealing with a breakup well. It's natural, right? You want your ex back, so you want to contact them, talk to them, and hold them close. So when you do the opposite, when you give them space, show your maturity, and act like you're moving on, they're going to be surprised. You aren't reacting how they expected you to react. Therefore, you must not be the same person that they think you are. So why is this important? Well, your ex doesn't want you right now. I hate to say it, but it is true, at least for most people. Because if they did, you'd be with them, not here watching this video, scheming how to get them back. And since your ex doesn't want the version of you that they know, you need to show them that you're not that person. You're better, more evolved, more interesting, and a better partner than they think you are. And showing them that you won't hang around begging for a second chance is just the first step to showing them that you've changed. Now, with that in mind, let's talk about how you can go about winning them back actually without talking to them. So first off, it's about making a plan. It's easy not to text your ex for a couple of days. But what about a week? Are you going to crack under pressure and send them a, you up text message in the middle of the night? This can easily destroy all of the progress you've made and drive your ex away from you like nothing else can. But making a plan can make it a lot easier to stay on the right path. So let's dive into what you need to do here. First is commit to not talking to your ex for about 30 days. Really, if you can, you need to commit to a full 30-day break from your ex from this day onwards. That means, no texting, no calls, Instagram DMs, Snapchat, retweets, comments, likes, anything. And you also can't spend time together with this person, ideally even among mutual friends. Of course, this is the no contact method that you've heard me talk about in the past, and I will include some links in the description to some other videos on this topic that you can check out next. But basically, there's really no good reason for you to contact your ex during this time if you want them back. Now, the same goes for answering their messages. It is going to feel extremely difficult. It's going to feel harsh. You might worry that you're going to lose them forever, but you won't. This is actually drawing them closer to you rather than pushing them away. Now, this is because it gives them a taste of their life without you. They hoped that they could wean themselves off you slowly by talking to you every now and then, maybe hanging out here and there, maybe even sleeping together from time to time. If things got really bad, they knew that they could reach out to you to make themselves feel better. But if you deny them this, you essentially make them go cold turkey. Cold turkey from your presence in their life. And this is much, much more difficult for them and will often make an ex reconsider their decision to break up or even, make them come crawling back to you within a few weeks. Now, of course, naturally, many people worry that their ex is going to be upset or offended by this. And honestly, this isn't a very common response from exes who actually experience no contact. Really, they know that the breakup meant severing communication eventually, and they really can't expect you to keep talking to them all the time now that you're not together. Now, this revelation will be difficult for them to accept and can be another breaking point for your ex. But that said, of course, there are a few situations where you must have contact with your ex during the no contact period. If your ex wants you to return their stuff, if you have shared responsibility like children or shared bills, or if they're in a life-threatening scenario and they really need your help. So of course, in those cases, just answer them normally and don't get dragged into a big conversation. Ideally, you want to get these issues out of the way as quickly as possible, as early as possible, so that they don't interfere with no contact. Now, this is obviously not ideal, but it's worth bending the rules a little to avoid any more drama or actually, hurt feelings. But don't use this kind of thing as an excuse to talk to your ex whenever you want, because really, you're only going to be hurting yourself. But what should you do if your ex reaches out to you? Honestly, most of the time, the best move here is just to not reply to them in any way. And really, unless it is a pressing matter, your ex is going to get the message and they're going to give you some space. If they keep reaching out and they're starting to get angry or concerned, then of course you can send a quick reply just to let them know you're not upset, but that you've been really busy and you're focusing on moving on. If your ex can't accept this, then this is a sign that your chances with them are actually very good because they really can't deal with your absence from their life. Now, the second thing you want to do is just lean on your support system. One of the hardest parts of breakups is that the person who you'd actually, usually rely on to deal with turmoil like this is now no longer accessible to you because they're the reason you're upset. So with that in mind, you will need to establish, a network of people who can help you get through this difficult time. This, of course, is probably going to be your friends and family. So reach out to those closest to you and those you lost touch with during the relationship and, connect with them. Don't feel shame for leaning on those close to you right now, because surrounding yourself with people who care about you is one of the best ways to distract yourself from difficult emotions. And when you are ready to vent, of course, they'll be there for that too. That being said, you do want to avoid mutual friends during this time as they can cause drama and reveal information to your ex that's going to interfere with your plan of winning them back. And thirdly, you want to focus on improving yourself and your life. Self-improvement is the best way to spend your no contact period. Because, without your ex, you are going to have more time on your hands. Then you can either spend that time, wallowing in sadness and end up 10 pounds heavier, full of regret, cut off from the world. Or you could spend it just, making small but meaningful changes in your life that will not only make you feel better, but will show your ex that you're someone who's working towards goals and making the most of their life. And this is going to create a powerful contrast to the puddle of tears that they left you in when they decided to end things, a month ago. And whatever happens next, this will have been time well spent because it will show you that you don't need your ex to be happy after all. And if you can understand this, you'll realize your value, and when the time comes to reconnect, you'll be a lot more confident and a lot more in control. Fourth, you're going to want to harness the power of social media. So to this point, we haven't been specific about how you can win your ex back without even talking to them. Well, the first 3 steps that we talked about have been about improving your mental state, and of course, this is incredibly powerful. Even if your ex can't see it directly, they are going to feel it. But if you want to be more direct, then social media is a great way to send messages to your ex without breaking no contact. Basically, you want to post things with them in mind. Now, I'm not talking about, cryptic messages or passive-aggressive posts. I'm talking about showing your ex how good your life is without them in it. Now, this is where, getting out there and improving your life really does have an impact on your ex. If you're out there, making strides to not only get your life back on track, but to far surpass where you were before the breakup, you're going to make your ex jealous and wish that they had you back. And the way to show them this, that this is happening, I should say, is by posting it on social media. Now remember, you need to be subtle here, because if your ex can tell that you're only doing this for their benefit, then they're going to be turned off. But the good news is that, a little bit goes a long way here. There's so much power in silence because it makes what you do and say so much more significant. So go out, have fun, take pictures with friends, and just post them online. Capture your hobbies and interests, show how things in your life have improved lately. Just generally keep it positive and upbeat and be expressive. So for example, if you feel like your ex thought that you were, a loser with no other options, then you can post your photos of yourself with beautiful people of the opposite sex to really make them rethink their opinion of you. Or if they thought that, you weren't doing well in your career, post about going back to school or smashing a deadline at work. Whatever you think would really impress them. Just remember, social media is one of the best ways of communicating with your ex without breaking no contact, so don't let it go to waste. Fifth, you can sign up for my one-on-one coaching program. So if you are struggling to understand or even just stick to no contact, I have your back. Go to breakupbrad.com/coaching after this video, sign up for my one-on-one coaching program. When you sign up, I work with you directly, and together we make a plan that's tailored to your ex. I can help you get your ex back more quickly and with less risk of failure. Again, all the details and sign up are at breakupbrad.com/coaching. I really look forward to speaking with you, so please go there if you need any help. But I know a few of you aren't convinced that you really can actually get your ex back without talking to them. Maybe you're planning on reaching out to your ex after this video is over, clearing the air and trying to get them to take you back. And for you, I wanted to talk a little bit about the opposite approach. So here's why talking to your ex doesn't work. Well, firstly, because pressure is a turnoff. Your ex is in a vulnerable position right now, as are you. You're both essentially, a bit emotionally and mentally unstable. And really, who could blame you? You've had this thing that you thought would be lasting forever, ripped away from you, and of course, you're struggling to fill that void. And you may think, if they're vulnerable, well, now is the time to pounce and win them back. But actually, since they're unstable, you really can't predict what they're going to do. They might agree and then go back on it a day later, or they might just block you and run for the hills. The point is really, you don't know. So by contacting them right now, even if you never mention the relationship, you're essentially putting pressure on them to reciprocate. They want space, and you're telling them, talk to me, pay attention to me. This puts pressure on them to decide one way or another how they feel about you. And even if they're 50-50 on the prospect of reconnecting with you, which is probably generous, by the way, they know that they can't lead you on if they're not 100% sure, and so they'll default to pulling away and moving on because they care about you and they don't want to risk hurting you. Now, you can avoid making your ex feel pressured by following the advice we've talked about in this video, giving them space, working on yourself, and setting yourself up for success. Only then can you begin to reconnect. Anyways, that just about does it for this video. Thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, and thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. Good luck, and see you next time.